Okay, I'm trying a new experiment with this video. Almost always, when I have an idea for a video, the most natural way for me to start is to organize my thoughts in this sort of tree-like structure. Often, this develops into a full-on script for the video. Then, when I go to make the video, especially if it's a more podcast-style video, I just read this script. The idea generation and script writing parts are easy for me. I have so many ideas. I mean, just look at this list. The white ones are the ones I haven't done yet. By the way, if you see anything that excites you, let me know. I do take requests. And this list isn't even all of my ideas. There are so many. Many of these I already have full scripts for. The bottleneck, though, comes after I write the script. What's hard for me is making assets ahead of time, if necessary, recording, and editing. So for me, what would it look like to take the path of least resistance in making a YouTube video? The thought that came to my mind was, well, what would happen if I just show my tree-like script as I read it? No fancy visuals, no editing. You guys could still just listen to it as a podcast, or you can follow along in my script. That way you get to see how I'm thinking. Maybe it's even better than a transcript. And if it works, maybe the simplicity of this method will allow me to make more videos. And perhaps this content is valuable enough that enabling myself to make more videos, even if they aren't the highest quality, is worth it. So let's give it a shot for this video. You may have heard that what you resist persists. But what's going on there? A problem is basically some form of resistance you encounter. You're trying to do something, and now here's this problem in front of you, resisting you. But actually, the resistance is yours. You are the one resisting. Reality mirrors you. The resistance you experience against you out in the world is your resistance. As soon as you let go of your resistance, reality stops resisting you. This is very powerful magic. I don't just mean that you stop experiencing whatever it is as a problem. I mean that whatever it was that you were experiencing as a problem actually changes. It stops resisting you too. Reality really does act like a mirror. And when you completely let go of resistance, things balance each other out of their own accord. This requires that you let go of resistance to both sides of any given equation. For example, the flow of giving and receiving. If something is taken from you, let it go. If something is given to you, accept it. But what if multiple things seem to conflict with each other? Which thing do you let go of resistance to? All of them. Let go of your resistance to each of them, and also let go of your resistance to their conflict with each other. Be like water. Water naturally flows through the path of least resistance. And if it is being resisted on all sides, it is still until an opening appears, and then it flows again. This doesn't mean that it is always completely meek and passive, nor that it doesn't have any effect. Sometimes it burbles along quietly in the background like a spring. It may look like it isn't doing much, but it is nourishing all around it with life force simply by the presence of its own true essence. Sometimes It roars so loudly that it is deafening, like a massive waterfall pounding the rocks. And sometimes it towers into the heavens like a tsunami and then comes crashing down, destroying everything in its path. But in doing any of this, water never expends any effort. It neither pushes itself forward nor holds itself back. I forgot a word. But instead lets its true nature interact in total ease with its environment. Be aware, though, true non-resistance isn't the same as simply allowing yourself to be dragged around by all of your emotional reactions, compulsions, and addictions. Although it can be really illuminating to see what happens if you do that, this can be an excellent way of discovering what there is to work on. Because emotional reactions, compulsions, and addictions are all symptoms of underlying resistance. So, in order to deeply work with the law of non-resistance, I find that it really helps to recognize and accept these reactions and compulsions. In other words, let go of your resistance to the fact that they're there, their positive effects in your life, and their negative effects in your life. Get curious about them to discover what underlying resistance each one is built around, and then let go of that resistance too. This can require doing some shadow work. I'll put a link to my shadow work playlist in the description. For example, these are the steps I recently followed along these lines, and I found them very helpful. 1. Let go of all surface resistance and do exactly what comes naturally in my current state, following the current path of least resistance, even if that means getting dragged around by every petty emotional reaction, compulsion, and addiction. 2. Simultaneously, note what inner guidance and/or the more teal-violet stage sense of flow seem to be nudging me toward. 3. Rather than trying to force myself from the outside to follow that inner guidance, note where I don't follow it when I'm letting go of my surface resistance. As far as following the path of least resistance, pretend that my inner guidance hasn't said anything at all. Just do what comes naturally. Then notice any disparity between what I'm doing and what inner guidance is suggesting I do. 4. This disparity is an indication or signal for where there is deeper resistance. Do shadow work to release these deeper pockets of resistance from the inside. Another way of thinking of it is to imagine being a school of fish. The fish are all the little parts of you. You want them all flowing in the same direction. So no inner resistance. And then the whole you, the whole school of fish, flows around the rocks and other beings in your environment. And if you're having trouble letting go of resistance, here's another mistake. Try letting go of your resistance to resistance. What you resist persists, right? So if you're stuck in resistance mode, chances are you're resisting your resistance. Allow your resistance. Allow yourself to feel resistant. This is not the same as saying, fine, I'm resistant, and then ignoring it. Ignoring is a form of resistance. What I mean when I say to allow your resistance is to let it be there in you. Pay attention to it, feel it, get curious about it, explore it. Try to actively describe to yourself exactly how it feels. Find what you like about it. Enjoy it. I have a video that goes into a little more detail on that kind of thing called How to Deal with Emotions. I'll link it in the description box below. Anyway, that's the secret of the law of non-resistance. Reality is like oobleck. If you resist it or press against it, it becomes hard and resists you back. When you no longer resist it and you let go, reality gets soft and flows. You don't have to believe me. Try it for yourself. When you encounter any problem, any resistance whatsoever, internal or external, as you go about your life, take a moment to recognize that you are also resisting it, whatever it is. Then let go of your resistance and see what happens. It might take some practice. You can start out with low stakes stuff, but the first time you successfully stop resisting something, observe very closely what happens, and then keep experimenting with this and watching your results.